So I just got into the Red Barn Center. I, with very little notice, enrolled Mikey in the Canine Good Neighbor Test with little prep. I have no idea how he's going to do today. In fact, I'm really nervous about it because it could go really well or it could be a total disaster. In this video, I'm going to give you some tips to help you pass the Canine Good Neighbor Test yourself. Make sure to let your dog get into the environment as early as possible. We were late due to traffic, but I found as many opportunities to let Mikey sniff around and check things out. Now I want to make sure that he's ready to work. So as soon as he started offering voluntary attention, I'd mark and feed him for it. And I wanted to make sure that he could offer easy behaviors like sit and touch, which he did, and he's responding to cues. Next, if he's doing well, let's see if he can respond to more difficult behaviors like lay down, which he did. Even harder behaviors like finding basic position and doing heel work are next, and he was doing okay, but it's far from perfect. Here I go trying my first heel, and zoom, off he goes, sniffing, looking around, and getting distracted. It's my bad for not taking Mikey to different environments and other places to train first. He's really only trained in my own home and in my neighborhood, and he's actually never taken a group class before. So in preparation for this test, get your dog taking classes and training in many different places as possible. Fortunately, Canine Good Neighbor is not an obedience trial, so it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be okay. So he's doing well enough that there's a good chance he'll be able to pass. That's what I was thinking at the time. Here's another example. He's walking okay, and then boom, I need to go check out what's in the office. So training in novel environments and having your dog learn to ignore them, that's key, and you do that by just taking your training on the road. Although Mikey doesn't have as much experience training in novel environments, he does have a lot of repetitions. So despite the fact that he's inexperienced, he's able to do these behaviors okay. Now it is the waiting game. There were 10 dogs that were registered to test, and we were dog number 7, so it meant that we had to wait quite a while. So make sure to practice with your dog. Sit in places in public, do nothing quote unquote with your dog while they watch the world, including other dogs, go by. While Mikey is not reactive towards other dogs, we've done a ton of work on this to prevent it. He loves going to sniff. So if he had his way, he would be sniffing every single corner, every single nook and cranny in this training hall. Next, as you can see, I'm moving the leash to the flat collar, and I'm about to take Mikey's harness off. Dogs have to be on flat collars, they can't be on harnesses, head halters, or aversive equipment like choke chains or prong collars. And also, I gotta take this training pouch off. So I'm just moving my keys and other essentials into my pant pockets because no treats are allowed during the test. While we were waiting before the actual test started, the judges were pretty cool, and they let the dogs actually just walk around a bit and warm up. So I took this opportunity to allow Mikey to sniff as much as possible and then practice our basic behaviors. But as you can see here, my focus was really just letting him sniff as much as he wanted to, and then reinforcing him for voluntarily giving me attention or choosing to work. And here I am playing with him to make sure that he was in a good emotional state, but also to remind him that even though I can't give him food pretty soon, play is available as reinforcement. And he's still able to do that difficult behavior of lay down, which is hard when dogs are very distracted. More waiting around. More waiting around, so make sure your dog is cool with doing nothing, and this just involves practicing sitting in places and doing nothing until your dog chills out. I gotta be honest, I was pretty anxious at this point because I didn't know what to expect, and it's been a long time since I trialed a dog. Here we are, getting ready to get started, and Mikey is waiting patiently, and we're watching the first dog get tested with Accept a Friendly Stranger. And now, many minutes later, it's Mikey's turn, and they're testing to make sure that your dog doesn't jump on people because they're too friendly or show signs of fear or aggression. And Mikey's a pretty friendly dude. I was worried he was going to jump, but we've been working really hard on reinforcing 4 paws on the floor. So he'd been meeting people, and we've been clicking and treating for him remaining in a stand or offering a sit. Mikey also had to demonstrate that he could sit and lay down on cue, which he did just fine, and now I'm getting a brush. He's not normally brushed, but one of the tests is that he accepts grooming from a stranger. Mikey fortunately loves getting brushed, so as you can see here, he leans into it, and she found that endearing, and that also earned him the win and the pass for accepts grooming. Here's some footage of other dog teams working. This dog is doing out for a walk, demonstrating loose leash walking past distractions. And here's another team demonstrating a recall, which is done on a long line. Train your dog to remain calm, watching dogs run outside dog parks to get them ready for this. Now, Mikey is entering the isolation exercise where he has to be left with another stranger for 3 minutes while I leave the room and I'm out of sight, and they're looking not for a perfect stay but rather the absence of emotional distress. Fortunately, he remained quiet, and if there was one test I was worried about, this was it, because like most dogs, he's pretty attached, but he was able to do it just fine. Here we are on our out for a walk, and whoops, he lunges forward and pulls. The judge encouraged me just to try again, so I called him back and we gave it a second go. And the leash isn't perfect, it's not a perfect heel, but it's alright. But whoops, I forgot. Mikey is obsessed with stuffed toys, and there happened to be a distraction of a stuffed toy, and he pulled it down. But I was able to get him to drop it and continue the leash walking test. Here we are. This is wait at a boundary, and the test requires the dog to sit and wait or stay while you enter first, and then on cue you call the dog through. This is a pretty simple test for most dogs. It's simply sit, stay, wait, and then a recall, or in this case I use touch. Next up, combined exercises, stay with distance and recall from a distance. They let you choose either a down or a sit stay, so I chose a sit stay as he's actually stronger with it. And once cued to stay, I walk away to the end of the long line, and on cue, call him to me. Now, there's no requirement for him to come and sit, and so he actually comes, gets excited, and bites the long line because I'd never tested for it, but that doesn't constitute a fail as it's not part of the criteria. Calm down from play is one of the tests, and as you can see here, I get him excited and he calms down fairly quickly. We did pass. I would say it was a good performance, but not perfect. If I were to do one thing differently, I should have taken him to my own dog training school to practice training in a dog-filled environment. But good job, Mikey. Despite my lack of preparation, you did great. Mikey and I did it. We were able to get his Canine Good Neighbor. Here's his rosette. I had no idea that he was able to do such a good job. In fact, I thought that for sure we were gonna have, I was really stressed out when we first got here, super stressed out and worried that it'd be a total embarrassment. But we warmed up, and when we got called up for the first exercise, I could see Mike was really switched on. He was focused. Even though there's no treats in the test, he was working with me. And once he did his first exercise, I was like, yeah, I know he's got this. He's really switched on. So I'm so proud of him. And we're gonna be back for another title of some sort, probably rally obedience. So I can't wait to come back and trial again.